Mossad. Just hearing the name conjures up a world of clandestine deals, lightning-fast assassinations, and cold-blooded betrayal. This is not an ordinary intelligence agency. It is the invisible sword and the steel shield protecting the state of Israel. While the CIA or MI6 operate in the shadows to gather information, Mossad is ready to plunge straight into the fire to reshape reality through action. Mossad's operations have transcended the realm of classified reports, becoming an endless source of inspiration for blockbuster movies and the world's best-selling spy novels. The audacity and daring of their missions often surpass the wildest imagination of the public. Mossad doesn't just collect intelligence, they carry out hostage rescue missions in places deemed unreachable, hunt down Nazi war criminals who have evaded justice for decades, and most notably, execute surgically precise assassinations of terrorist targets to eliminate threats before they can take root. Operational style. The art of disguise and surprise attacks. The strength of Mossad lies in its absolute secrecy and terrifying professionalism. They are masters of the art of sophisticated disguise. A Mossad agent could be a Canadian tourist, a wealthy European businessman, or even a local woman. Their disguise is not merely clothing, but a perfect blend into the environment, concealing their true identity like a shadow. For example, in missions in the Middle East, agents might learn the local language, cultural habits, and even dress codes to become part of the community without raising suspicion. Mossad rarely opts for direct confrontation. Their preferred tactic is the strategy of surprise. Their targets are approached at their most vulnerable moments in their most familiar environments, using the least expected methods. Precision in action is always the top priority. The mission must be completed, and the agent must vanish without leaving any clear trace. This demands rigorous training with real-life scenario simulations conducted for months before action is taken. To understand Mossad's relentlessness and effectiveness, one must grasp the context in which they were born. Since its establishment in 1948, the State of Israel has been under constant siege. It faces relentless threats from hostile neighboring countries and increasingly sophisticated international terrorist organizations funded by sources like Iran or extremist groups. For Israel, this is not just a political or territorial war. It is a war of survival where a single misstep could lead to catastrophe for millions of citizens. In this perilous environment, Mossad cannot afford to sit idly by. They are forced to be creative and uncompromising. Their core strategy is cutting off the head of the fish. Instead of tackling entire terrorist organizations, Mossad focuses on eliminating key leadership figures. When the leaders are taken out, the command structure is paralyzed, and the organization crumbles, losing its ability to cause harm. This strategy has shaped Mossad's reputation, making them a fearsome force to anyone threatening Israel's existence. It is not only effective, but also minimizes civilian casualties compared to large-scale wars. In the following section, we will dive deep into 4 standout operations that have forged this legend, from the bloody revenge for Munich to assassinations using untraceable poisons and cutting-edge technology. Each operation is not just a story of action, but a testament to the perfect blend of intelligence, technology, and iron-willed determination. 1. Operation Wrath of God, 1972-1973. The event that sparked this operation is an indelible stain on Olympic history, the Munich Massacre of 1972. The Palestinian terrorist group, specifically Black September, infiltrated the Olympic Village and brutally murdered 11 Israeli athletes and coaches. For Israel, this was not just a terrorist act, but a direct declaration of war against the existence of the Jewish state. Prime Minister Golda Meir issued an order: find and eliminate all those responsible. This was the moment Mossad was granted global authority unbound by borders. Operation Wrath of God was launched as a systematic elimination campaign. The goal was not emotional revenge, but the methodical removal of PLO members involved across Europe and the Middle East. Agents were deployed in countries from France and Italy to Lebanon, tasked with tracking and eliminating targets one by one. To succeed, Mossad relied on an extensive intelligence network, including insider sources and rudimentary tracking technology of the time. The decisive strike took place in Beirut, Lebanon, a hostile city where the PLO had its main headquarters. Thanks to highly classified intelligence from a Lebanese source, Mossad pinpointed the locations of PLO offices, command posts, weapons workshops, and the homes of 3 key PLO leaders, including Ali Hassan Salameh, the mastermind of the Munich attack. An elite team of 15 commandos was secretly transported by the Israeli Navy to the coast of Beirut. They split into small groups ready for a lightning-fast raid with the goal of hitting all targets simultaneously to avoid detection. What made this operation legendary was the audacious art of disguise. To avoid attention in the Arab city at night, some commandos disguised themselves as women wearing wigs, heavy makeup, and even high heels, posing as couples heading to a party. Beirut at the time was dubbed the Paris of the Middle East, where stylish young groups didn't attract suspicion. The attack unfolded almost simultaneously. 3 targets were eliminated within minutes, alongside the destruction of key offices and weapons workshops with explosives. Though the plan was near perfect, there were tense moments. A stray bullet triggered a car alarm, and 3 commandos were shot while approaching the PLO headquarters. Nevertheless, the Mossad team withdrew successfully by sea-watching the targeted building collapse from afar. The result: heavy losses for the PLO and related groups, including 35 PFLP members. The operation was not just revenge, but a resounding warning to every Arab nation: Israel could strike unexpectedly anywhere it chose. It also led to the resignation of the Lebanese government and shook the confidence of terrorist groups. 2. Assassination of Wadi Haddad, 1977. Untraceable poison. Mossad's next target was Wadi Haddad, the co-founder of the PFLP Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, who orchestrated numerous hijackings and international terrorist attacks, including the 1976 Entebbe hijacking. Haddad was an especially tough target. He lived discreetly in Beirut, always heavily guarded by family and bodyguards, and had survived multiple bombing and RPG attacks. Additionally, his ties to the KGB made direct attacks highly risky, potentially sparking diplomatic conflict with the Soviet Union. Mossad had to find an invisible weapon. The solution came from Israeli scientists: a slow-acting poison designed to cause debilitation and death over months while being untraceable in standard autopsies. This poison, based on advanced chemical compounds, could accumulate gradually in the body without immediate symptoms. The strategy was codenamed Sadness, also the alias of the double agent used in the operation. This agent, possibly an aide or someone close to Haddad, gained access to him without raising suspicion. The action took place in the unlikeliest of places, Haddad's bathroom. The agent replaced Haddad's regular toothpaste tube with an identical one containing the poison, designed to match in packaging and flavor. The assassination was executed silently, with no gunfire or explosions. Unknowingly, Haddad poisoned himself daily through oral hygiene. Over months, his health deteriorated rapidly, severe weight loss, hair loss, and continuous bleeding. He was taken to hospitals in East Germany, where Stasi East German intelligence doctors tried to diagnose him but found no cause. Ultimately, he died in East Germany with the official cause listed as cancer. The assassination left no trace, and no one could prove Haddad was poisoned. This demonstrated Mossad's ability to execute highly sophisticated and covert operations, blending science with human intelligence. 3. Assassination of Yahya Ayyash, 1996. The bomb in the phone. Entering the 1990s, the target became more tech-savvy. Yahya Ayyash, nicknamed the Engineer, a brilliant Hamas electrical engineer who crafted sophisticated suicide bombs that killed over 90 Israelis and injured hundreds in bus and residential bombings. Ayyash was extremely cautious. He constantly changed phones and residences, had little social life, and avoided traceable devices. Mossad found a chink in his armor, his childhood friendship. They persuaded the uncle of Ayyash's close friend to cooperate, offering a new life in the U.S. with economic and security benefits. The plan exploited Ayyash's paranoia. They provided the uncle with a special phone for Ayyash to use, claiming it had anti-eavesdropping features to evade Israeli intelligence. The chilling truth was that the phone contained a tiny bomb remotely activated by voice recognition technology. Ayyash accepted the phone and used it to contact allies in Iran and Hamas. On a fateful day, while speaking with his father, Mossad agents confirmed his voice through the system with a single signal. Boom! Ayyash was killed instantly, the explosion calibrated to affect only him, sparing others nearby. The remote detonation ensured absolute precision and left no direct evidence. This operation showcased Mossad's mastery of espionage technology and social intelligence networks, marking a shift from traditional tactics to high-tech methods. 4. Failed assassination of Khalid Mashal, 1997. Not every Mossad operation ends in victory. In 1997, they targeted Khalid Mashal, deputy head of Hamas's political bureau, living in Amman, Jordan. The mission was to assassinate Mashal covertly, making his death appear natural to avoid diplomatic tensions with Jordan, a country that had signed a peace treaty with Israel. The context was the post-Oslo peace period, with Hamas attempting to derail negotiations through bombings. The plan used leviathan, a potent poison delivered via a small ultrasonic device feeling like a wet puff of air. This device, a product of Israeli scientists, allowed poison delivery without direct contact. 2 agents posed as Canadian tourists planning to spill a soda can to distract Mashal before spraying the poison in his ear as he exited his car. But the plan unraveled in seconds. The unexpected presence of Mashal's daughter and driver changed the situation. The driver spotted the agents' actions, mistaking them for wielding a knife, and chaos ensued. Though the poison was sprayed into Mashal's ear, the agents were exposed and captured shortly after by another Hamas member passing by, who beat them and took them to a police station. They tried to pass as Canadian tourists, but the Canadian embassy quickly uncovered the deception. The fallout was a diplomatic disaster. Hamas claimed Israel and Jordan were colluding, threatening unrest among Jordan's 2 million Palestinians. King Hussein demanded the public execution of the agents to secure his throne. Israel faced a tough choice: let Mashal die and lose 8 agents, or provide the antidote. They chose to save the agents, releasing hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, including Hamas founder Ahmed Yassin, as an apology. Mashal survived and remains active in Qatar as of 2024. This failure damaged Mossad's reputation, but showed their willingness to pay a steep price to protect their agents, emphasizing the principle of never abandoning comrades, the resilience of invisible agents, and the vow of retribution. Mossad's indispensable role. Mossad is not just an intelligence agency, it is a symbol of Israel's survival instinct. The 4 operations recounted above vividly illustrate their creativity, audacity, and iron resolve in safeguarding the nation against terrorist threats. Mossad's existence has cemented an unwavering principle in Israel's security policy. Those who threaten will pay a price, no matter where they are. Mossad operates as a self-fulfilling prophet for Israel. They not only predict threats, but proactively eliminate them before they materialize. Their success stems from a complex formula, a seamless blend of cutting-edge technology, masterful disguise, global intelligence networks, and calculated surprise strategies. From using untraceable poison in toothpaste to planting bombs in mobile phones, Mossad continually pushes the boundaries of covert operations. They disregard geographical limits with missions spanning Europe to the Middle East, always prioritizing minimal civilian risk. Lessons from success and failure. Mossad stories offer valuable lessons not just for the intelligence community, but for any organization operating in high-risk environments. Meticulous preparation is key. The resounding success of operations like Wrath of God or the Ayash assassination relied on intelligence precise to the smallest detail and relentless simulation training. Mossad proves that to achieve seemingly impossible goals, preparation must be flawless, allowing flexible responses to the tiniest variables, as seen in Beirut, despite casualties. Adaptability is decisive. In the Wadi Haddad assassination, when direct attacks were impossible, Mossad pivoted to an invisible tactic poison. This showcased their ability to swiftly and creatively adapt strategies to the target's protection level, combining science and human intelligence. Failure always looms. Diplomatic risks. The failed Khalid Mashal assassination is a stark reminder of the diplomatic and tactical risks inherent in intelligence work. No matter how sophisticated the plan, human factors and randomness, like the unexpected presence of a daughter and driver, can derail everything. More critically, this incident severely damaged Mossad's reputation, forcing Israel to pay a steep price with the antidote and prisoner releases. However, Israel's willingness to meet all conditions to ensure the safe return of captured agents reflects a core ethical principle within Mossad: never leave a comrade behind. This lesson led to later improvements in planning, such as enhanced simulations for unexpected scenarios. The future of Israel's sword. In today's tense geopolitical climate, particularly after the horrific attack on October 7, 2023, Mossad's role has reached paramount importance. The underworld believes Mossad has received an order akin to post-Munich retaliate and hunt down all those behind the attack on a global scale. Targets may include Hamas and Hezbollah leaders hiding in Qatar, Turkey, or Iran. Future operations are predicted to be bolder, more complex, and leverage far more advanced technology, such as autonomous drones for target tracking, AI for analyzing social media data to predict actions, or cyber attacks to dismantle terrorist financial infrastructure. Mossad will face targets hiding in cyberspace using sophisticated encryption, requiring a complete overhaul of electronic intelligence and information warfare capabilities. Mossad's essence is to operate in secrecy, so we won't know what's happening behind the scenes for years, perhaps decades. But rest assured, when these classified files are revealed, The stories of Israel's invisible agents' resilience will once again stun the world. Mossad will remain the sharpest sword always poised to fulfill the nation's survival vow. Mossad's legacy is not just individual victories or failures, but a permanent shift in the rules of the global fight against terrorism. Each operation, whether a resounding success or a catastrophic failure, leaves a deep scar on the geopolitical map, shaping how nations counter non-state threats. For example, the cut-off-the-head strategy was adopted by the U.S. in the hunt for Osama bin Laden, showing Mossad's global influence. Deterrence effect, instilling targeted fear. The ultimate goal of Mossad's assassination operations, especially Operation Wrath of God, was not just personal retribution, but establishing a global deterrence effect. Israel wanted to send an unmistakable message: nowhere is safe for those who target its citizens. Assassinations across Europe and the Middle East forced terrorist leaders to live in paranoia, constantly changing locations and suspecting even their bodyguards. Untraceable assassinations like Wadi Haddad's via poison plunged terrorist leaders into extreme paranoia and distrust. They no longer trusted food, personal items, or even their closest allies. This psychological insecurity reduced leadership efficiency and fractured organizational cohesion. When Wadi Haddad died of a natural cause like cancer, rival groups were left wondering, was it truly natural or an Israeli warning? This ambiguity became Mossad's most potent weapon, weakening enemies from within without direct combat. The legacy of Wrath of God was the legitimization of cross-border strikes against terrorist organizations, laying the foundation for modern counterterrorism doctrines adopted by Western nations, including the U.S. It also encouraged other intelligence agencies to invest in global networks rather than limiting operations to national borders. Driving espionage technology innovation. Mossad doesn't just use guns, they wield intellect and technology. Their operations are laboratories for the most advanced espionage tools. Invisible weapons. The development of slow-acting, untraceable poison in the Haddad case showcased significant investment in chemical and biological espionage. This poison not only killed, but appeared natural, avoiding international accusations. Tech bombs. The Yahya Ayyash assassination via a bomb-laden phone marked a milestone. It signaled a shift toward using consumer electronics as weapons. This demonstrated Mossad's leadership in developing remotely controlled microbombs and exploiting telecommunications and personal data to precisely identify and eliminate targets. This method laid the groundwork for later high-tech targeted killing operations, influencing U.S. drone programs. Mossad's technological legacy is the tight integration of Israel's military intelligence and high-tech sectors, creating a superior cybersecurity and intelligence ecosystem. Today, companies like NSO Group with Pegasus software are evidence of this legacy, though controversial for ethical reasons. The catastrophic failure of the Khalid Mashal assassination in Jordan in 1997 is another legacy, but one of responsible failure. The incident exposed Mossad's vulnerability to randomness and swift local responses, such as the driver and Hamas members' timely intervention. However, Israel's handling of the subsequent crisis became a textbook case of silent diplomacy in critical situations. Providing the antidote to save Mashal and releasing hundreds of Palestinian prisoners was not an act of mercy, but a strategic trade-off to protect the lives of captured agents. This reaffirmed Mossad's unwritten rule: never leave anyone behind. This commitment not only strengthened internal loyalty, but also maintained an image of credibility and reliability in international intelligence communities. The incident also prompted internal changes like enhanced training for unexpected scenarios and improved diplomatic relations with neighbors. Currently, post the October 7, 2023 attack, Mossad faces another vow of retribution. The legacy and experience from past operations will be applied in a new era. Expanded scope. The hunt for terrorist leaders will extend beyond the Middle East to regions where they hide, including Europe and non-aligned countries leveraging global intelligence networks. Invisible warfare. Experts predict Mossad will ramp up cyber warfare, targeting terrorist information, financial and supply chain infrastructure, weakening them without firing a shot. For example, hacking financial systems to cut funding or using AI to track social media movements. And those are the 4 stories that shaped the legend of Mossad. You've seen the audacity, the sophistication, and the costly failures in the world of spies. But trust me, the underworld still holds many secrets waiting to be uncovered. If you're captivated by impossible plans, top-tier espionage tactics, and shocking truths behind the headlines, you can't miss what's coming next on this channel. Act now before it's buried in the shadows. Subscribe to the channel immediately and turn on notifications to catch every classified file we're about to reveal. Comment below. Which Mossad operation gave you chills? The Beirut disguise or the phone bomb? Share this video with anyone passionate about the spy world. See you in the next mission.